At my father's will reading, I discovered my stepmother's shocking decision to exclude me forever. Charlie sat in the elegant room, his heart pounding like a war drum. His palms were slick with sweat, a sharp contrast to the cool, polished wood of the table before him. The air was thick with unspoken tension, the kind that clings to you long after each word is uttered. Across from him sat his stepmother, Marissa, her pristine suit and calculated smile making her look like a polished trophy meant to showcase his father's dubious choice in partners. The sun streaming through the tall windows did little to warm the chill that wrapped around Charlie's heart. As the lawyer cleared his throat, Charlie felt his insides twist. The world around him dimmed, just as his father's lively stories had receded with his passing. Memories of grease-stained hands and shared laughter filled his mind, painting a stark contrast to the looming presence of the woman who now held his future in her hands. When Marissa delivered her shocking announcement Charlie was excluded from the family estate, it felt like a blow to the gut. Murmurs rippled through the room, gasps from those who had sat in silence, bearing witness to a situation that felt unreal. Charlie's heart raced, feeling the sting of injustice seep into his bones. His father's legacy, one steeped in hard work and love for family, had been thrown aside for a misguided notion of success that Marissa clung to, the glitter of ideals more attractive than the grit of reality. "Charlie, you never reflected the legacy this family deserves," she stated, her voice edged with a steel that cut deeper than any knife. The words echoed in his mind, legacy, success, two words that had always been intertwined with love and sacrifice in his father's world. The shimmering facade that Marissa projected began to waver, revealing a hollow view of worth that Charlie had never embraced. As emotions whirled within him, his childhood friend Marco, now a community organizer, caught Charlie's gaze from across the room. In that instant, Marco's fierce determination ignited a spark inside him. Charlie had served his country, dedicated his life to keeping his father's repair shop alive, and now, in this moment of pain, he recalled that his worth was anchored not in material wealth but in the heart and soul of his community. "Channel this pain into purpose, Charlie," Marco urged silently, his eyes blazing with encouragement. Before he could catch his breath, he found himself caught in a whirlwind of fury and despair. The room held its collective breath as his stepmother continued her tirade. Just as he thought the discussion couldn't get heavier, a surprising twist ripped through the air. A knock at the door. He turned, uncertain and hopeful. Life has a way of stepping in when least expected. Whoever it was could either deepen his despair or usher in hope. Would this visitor finally reveal the true essence of family? Hope battled despair as Charlie stood there, teetering at the edge of a revelation. As the door creaked open, one question lingered: who would emerge to change the course of this heart-wrenching chapter? The door swung open slowly, revealing a tall figure shrouded in shadows. Charlie squinted into the light, his heart racing as he tried to discern the newcomer. The tension in the room shifted, an electric charge in the air that danced around them. It was Mrs. Eleanor Lang, a woman Charlie recognized from his childhood. She had often visited his father in the shop with a warm smile and a kindness that felt genuine. "Eleanor?" Charlie breathed, a mix of confusion and relief flooding through him. "I'm so sorry for interrupting," she said, stepping into the room, a slight tremor in her voice. The warmth in her tone washed over him, reminding him of a simpler time. As she approached, the crowd seemed to part for her, the murmurs falling to whispers. "Charlie, I've been looking for you," she said, her eyes darting towards Marissa, who wore an expression of disbelief. "I needed to come here, now more than ever." Marissa's controlled facade slipped even further, her mouth a thin line. "This is not your place, Eleanor," she snapped, her voice sharper than a jagged edge. "Actually, it is. I have something important to share," Eleanor replied, ignoring Marissa's venom. She turned to Charlie, her expression softening. "You need to know the truth about your father." The murmurs resumed, but Charlie couldn't focus on them. His mind raced with questions. What truth? Why now? He felt a persistent thud in his chest, a mixture of anxiety and hope. "What about my dad?" he asked, urgency spiking his tone. "Your father cared about you deeply, Charlie. This is about more than just money or property. He believed in you, even when others did not. I have something that might prove that." Eleanor reached into her bag and retrieved a worn envelope, its edges frayed with time. She stepped closer to him, her voice dropping to a whisper. "He left you a letter." Charlie could hardly breathe. The significance of the moment pressed down on him. This wasn't just about the estate, the cut, or the excluded name. This was a glimpse into his father's spirit, a chance to feel his love again. As he accepted the envelope, he felt the cool texture beneath his fingers, but warmth flooded his heart. "You're sure this is real?" he asked, searching Eleanor's face for assurance. "Absolutely. Your father entrusted me with it, asking me to give it to you if anything happened. He wanted you to have these words. Now, open it, Charlie." Ignoring Marissa's increasingly agitated fidgeting, he tore the envelope and unfolded the letter, each crackle of the paper sounding like a tiny drumbeat echoing his heartbeat. The room faded away, all that existed was the promise of his father's words. Charlie skimmed the lines, the familiar scrawl igniting a flood of memories and emotions. There was that same love, the unwavering support that shaped who he was. It was as if his father was standing right there, whispering encouragement directly into his ear. Suddenly, a sharp voice pierced his moment of reverie. "This is ridiculous. Enough theatrics, Eleanor." Marissa's fury rose, but Charlie ignored her, poring over the letter, realizing that his father had spoken of resilience, of worth beyond wealth. The room fell silent again, and Charlie lifted his gaze, the fire of purpose igniting within him. "This is about family, not her perception of legacy. You can't take that from me." The tension thickened, the energy shifting like the winds before a storm. Eleanor's steady presence anchored Charlie against the chaos that swirled within the room. But as he felt a surge of determination flow through him, an unexpected truth hit him hard. If he truly wanted to reclaim his place in his father's legacy, he would need to confront Marissa. He would have to rise above the pain, the rejection, and embrace the fight ahead. Could he really do this? With the weight of a letter in his hand, Charlie steadied himself for an inevitable showdown. What other secrets would unfold, and what would he have to sacrifice to hold on to his father's true legacy? Charlie's heart hammered in his chest as he looked between Eleanor and Marissa, each woman representing a piece of his past and an uncertain future. The letter in his hand felt heavier than it had moments ago. This was no longer just about words on a page, it was about him finding his place in a world that seemed determined to push him aside. Marissa stepped forward, her voice laced with contempt. "You think that just because he wrote you a letter, you're somehow entitled to what he left behind? You know nothing, Charlie. My husband worked hard for everything." Eleanor intervened, her gaze steady and fierce. "And Charlie deserves to know the truth about his father's love and intentions. He is not just a name on a document, Marissa. He is family." "Family?" Marissa scoffed, crossing her arms as though she could physically ward off any claim Charlie might have. "You've had your chance, Charlie. If your father wanted you to have everything, he would have told me before what?" Charlie challenged, his voice rising. "Before he found out who you really are? You think I don't know about your selfishness? About how you've pushed me away since the day my father married you?" Marissa's expression shifted, something akin to surprise flickered across her face before it hardened again, ready to cut deeper. "You know nothing. Your father chose me. He gave me the life he wanted you to have. And now, you want to come here and tear apart everything we built? You're a fool to think I'll let you." With that, she turned her back on him, but the wall of resentment she had built was crumbling under the weight of his words. Charlie felt empowered. The fire from the letter fueled his resolve. "I may not have grown up in your world," Charlie declared, clenching the paper in his hand, "but I know love when I feel it. You can't erase the bond my father and I had, no matter how hard you try. This letter is proof of that." He glanced over at Eleanor, who watched with a reassuring nod. It felt like a lifeline. Perhaps he wasn't entirely alone in this battle. He took a deep breath, feeling the emotion ripple through him, leveling the playing field. Marissa turned slowly, her expression one of disbelief. "You think that letter makes you a man? You think that changes anything?" "Maybe not everything," Charlie replied with newfound conviction. But it changes me. I'm not backing down. I refuse to let you decide my fate, the fate of my father's legacy. I want what he wanted for me, and I'm willing to fight for it. The murmurs from the crowd began to rise again, whispers mingling with the tension. Charlie could sense the shift, the weight of eyes watching, judging. With each moment, he felt stronger, more determined. Just then, Eleanor stepped beside him, her presence wrapping around him like armor. "There's something more," she said, her voice steady but urgent. "Your father mentioned something else, something that could change everything about this mess." Charlie's pulse quickened. He had a taste of hope, a glimmer of justice, but if there was more lurking beneath the surface, he had to know. He turned towards Eleanor. "What is it? What did he leave out?" The weight of that question hung in the air, thick with promise and dread. And as Eleanor prepared to reveal the details that could change the course of everything, Charlie felt a flicker of anxiety mixed with determination. What would this revelation mean for him? Would it strengthen his resolve or shatter the last bits of hope he had? The room was abuzz with anticipation, and Charlie could sense the gravity of the moment. What secrets lay hidden in his father's past, and how deeply would those secrets ripple into his future? Eleanor took a deep breath, the weight of the moment pressing heavily on her. "Your father, he made arrangements for you. There's an additional document, one that outlines his will and what he intended for you." The murmurs hushed, the crowd leaning in closer, eager to grasp every word. Charlie's heart raced as he processed Eleanor's revelation. A will? Did this mean his father had actually thought about him when he was gone? "What does it say? What did he want for me?" Charlie urged, his voice a mix of desperation and hope. Eleanor hesitated, her eyes darting to Marissa. "I can't say for certain until you see it yourself, but I believe he wanted you to have a chance, maybe a place in his company. He mentioned something about legacy, about you continuing his work." Charlie could hardly believe what he was hearing. This was more than he had imagined. It wasn't just a letter, it was a pathway into a future he yearned for but never thought he could grasp. Marissa's face twisted with anger. "You have no right to speak of a legacy. This is my husband's life, and his company was built for me, for our family. You think a letter changes everything?" "It changes everything." Charlie shot back, the fire inside him igniting again. "If my father planned for me, if he wanted me to be part of this, then I'll fight for it." The words hung in the air, charged with potential. He could feel the tension crackle like static. The crowd's silence shifted into a murmur of curiosity, like a gathering storm. Eleanor's eyes softened, and she placed a firm hand on Charlie's shoulder. "We need to find that document. Together. It might be the key to everything, but Marissa won't make this easy. She'll fight to keep you out, just like she's doing now." Charlie turned to face Marissa, who was glaring at him with fire in her own eyes. "You can't erase my father's dreams. You may control this house and how we used to live, but you don't own my father's spirit or his love for me. You will not get away with this." The silence that followed was deafening. Marissa's jaw clenched tight, and in that moment, Charlie realized just how much was at stake. This wasn't just about a business or a document, it was about his identity, his father's memory, and the love that had been silenced for too long. Marissa stepped closer, her voice low and fierce. "You're playing with fire, Charlie. I won't let you destroy everything my husband worked for just because you think you deserve it. I'll do whatever it takes to keep you from that will." Charlie held her gaze, the adrenaline coursing through him. "Bring it on." Eleanor nodded, resolute. "We'll follow the path your father set for you, and I'll help you every step of the way. We must tread carefully, but we will uncover the truth." As Charlie met Eleanor's eyes, a sense of unwavering determination filled him. He could see a future, a chance to reclaim what was rightfully his. He took a step forward, feeling the energy shift among the crowd. The hushed whispers turned into discussions of possibilities, of hope, of rebirth. But just as the momentum seemed to surge in his favor, a voice from the back of the room called out, chilling the air around them. "What if there's more to this than you know?" Charlie turned, his blood running cold. The implications hung heavy, an ominous shadow cast over the moment. Who else knew something he didn't? And what kind of complications awaited? As uncertainty washed over him, Charlie couldn't shake the feeling that more twists lay ahead. He would need to brace himself. This battle was far from over. What other secrets did his father's life hold, and how deep did the ties stretch with Marissa's resistance? He took a deep breath, ready to carry on into the unknown. The voice from the back quivered with disbelief. "You don't know everything, Charlie," a woman said, stepping into view. It was Linda, a distant cousin Charlie barely remembered. She looked different now. An air of defiance surrounded her, a warrior ready to take on giants. "Your father had plans that didn't include you." Charlie felt the blood drain from his face. He glanced at Eleanor, whose expression tightened in concern. "What do you mean?" His voice came out raw, filled with confusion and anger. Linda took a slow step forward, her eyes locking onto Charlie's. "I overheard them conversations between your father and Marissa. There were fears about you inheriting more than just assets. Your father was worried about you stepping into leadership." Her words hung in the air like smoke, suffocating the hope that had just started to ignite in Charlie's heart. "No," Charlie breathed, shaking his head as if he could physically dispel her words. "That's not true. He loved me. He wanted me involved." The crowd shifted, murmuring among themselves, caught between the drama unfolding and their own speculation. "Love doesn't always translate to trust," Linda pressed on, her tone steely. "You don't know what he really thought. He wanted you to make a place for yourself, not take over what belonged to him and Marissa." Marissa's lips curled into a satisfied smirk. "See? Even your own family knows your place," she taunted, stepping closer, her presence engulfing Charlie like a dark cloud. "You think you can just waltz in here and take everything I built with your father? This will not end well for you." Charlie felt a swell of fury mixed with betrayal, each syllable stabbing at the hope he just clung to. "I won't let your greed overshadow my father's wishes. If he set this up, then I deserve to see it and understand it fully." "Deserve?" Marissa laughed bitterly. "You've done nothing but exist in his shadow. The past, you can't change it." Her words twisted Charlie's insides, but Eleanor's firm grip on his shoulder reminded him to stay grounded. "Enough." Eleanor's voice rang out, cutting through the tension. "We cannot get swept up in accusations. Charlie, we have to find that will. It's the only way to settle this, to know the truth. Is it even worth finding?" Marissa shot back, her eyes narrowing. "What if you find out you're not in it at all? Would that hurt more?" Charlie felt the weight of Marissa's taunts pressing down on him. He couldn't crumble, not now, not when he was so close to discovering his father's intentions. "We'll see who gets hurt, Marissa," he retorted, his voice firmer than he felt. The crowd buzzed, caught in a whirlwind of speculation. Faces changed from concern to intrigue. Conversations erupted, like sparks igniting a new fire. A man in the back, someone Charlie couldn't name, raised a hand and called out, "What's the next step then, Charlie? Are you going to fight this? You've got a lot on the line." Charlie's heart hammered in his chest. He looked around, realizing that everyone was watching him, awaiting his response. Yes, I will." The words flowed out, igniting a fierce resolve within him. "I won't back down. If it means finding out what my father truly wanted, then I'll do whatever it takes." As he declared his intention, a familiar sensation washed over him. The feeling of standing on the edge, ready to leap into the unknown. It was terrifying yet exhilarating, but just as he felt that surge of courage, Linda's voice broke through the atmosphere again. "Charlie, wait. You have to know something else before you dive in. It's not just about the will. There's a deeper betrayal connected to the company." Charlie's blood ran cold again, and he turned sharply towards her, every nerve on edge. "What are you talking about?" It was as if the ground beneath him was shifting, and he took a step back. The stakes were rising faster than he could grasp, and the weight of whatever awaited him in the shadows loomed larger than ever. Would uncovering the truth about his father's wishes lead him to freedom, or would it bury him deeper? Determined yet anxious, Charlie prepared to confront whatever revelation Linda had. The next chapter of his life was about to unfold, and he could only hope he was ready to face it. Linda looked at Charlie with intense eyes, brimming with urgency. "You need to listen. The betrayal isn't just about the will," she insisted, her voice a low whisper barely penetrating the buzz of the crowd around them. Everyone was waiting for answers, tension thickening the air. Charlie felt his heart thud in his chest. "Then tell me, Linda. What do you mean?" He leaned in, desperate for clarity. "Your mother was involved," Linda revealed, each word tinged with gravity. "She created a plan with Marissa. It's complex, much more than mere inheritance." Charlie's breath caught. Memories of family dinners, laughter, and the rare quiet moments spent with his father flooded his mind. "My mom, what did she have to do with this?" The both of them. Linda hesitated. The hesitation felt like a knife twisting in Charlie's gut. They didn't just want to create a legacy, they wanted to keep control. "They thought you'd never fit the mold they envisioned. Not for the business, not for the family." Marissa snickered at the back, relishing every moment of Charlie's discomfort. "See? Even your own flesh and blood conspired against you. It's almost poetic, really." "Shut up." Eleanor snapped, her protective instincts kicking in. She turned to Charlie. "You can't let her get to you. This is about your father and his wishes, remember that." But the undercurrent of doubt had begun to swirl in Charlie's heart, threatening to drown him. "I need to know more," he said, swallowing hard. "If they plotted against me, if they thought I was untrustworthy, I need evidence. I can't jump into this blindly." Linda, nodding slightly, took a half step back, her voice steady yet delicate. "There's a folder and envelope left behind. It could show his thoughts. I can help you find it, but you have to promise me you'll be ready for whatever is inside." "Ready for what?" Charlie asked, unease crawling through him. "The truth," she replied, biting her lip, glancing at Marissa, who was now watching with an amused smile, like a spectator at a circus. "It might reveal more than the will. It could shatter everything you thought you knew." Charlie's mind raced. He was lightheaded, every breath feeling heavier than the last. "Then let us find it," he declared, determination fueling his resolve, despite the gnawing fear in his gut. "I won't let them control me anymore." As the crowd seemed to lean in, Charlie could feel their anticipation. Whispers turned into quiet urgency, every pair of eyes feeding on his next move. "Let me come with you," Linda urged. "You need someone who knows what they're doing." "Fine," he replied, his voice firmer now. "But we need to act fast. I don't want Marissa sniffing around." "Let her think she's one for now," Linda said, her expression serious. "We'll dig deeper. Show them what true strength looks like." A ripple of excitement shot through Charlie. They were entering a forbidden territory that held not only his father's wishes but also secrets, lies, and perhaps even redemption. As they stepped away from the crowd, Charlie felt a mix of dread and adrenaline thrumming in his veins. What awaited him in the shadows? Was he ready for the truth that could break him or herald his resurgence? "Let us go, before it's too late," he urged Linda, igniting a sense of urgency. Together, they moved forward, the path obscured ahead of them. But as they left the murmuring crowd behind, one thought echoed in Charlie's mind: there could be more waiting for him than he ever expected, and not all of it was meant to heal. Would he walk away unscathed when all the layers got peeled back? The tension in the air built as a question hung sharply on his lips. Would he be able to handle the weight of the revelations to come? The dimly lit hallway felt almost suffocating as Charlie and Linda walked side by side. Each step echoed on the polished floor, a stark reminder of the weight pressing down on him. Charlie glanced sideways at Linda, searching her face for any sign of reassurance. Instead, her eyes were full of determination, a flicker of hope in the dark. "Where do we even start?" he asked. His voice trembled slightly, betraying the nerves rattling inside him. Your father's study, Linda replied confidently. If the envelope exists, it's likely there. She quickened her pace, leading the way. The door to the study loomed ahead like a sentinel guarding its secrets, and with every step, dread and curiosity twisted within him. When they reached the door, Charlie hesitated, his hand hovering above the handle. The study had always been a sacred space, filled with memories of his father's quiet strength, solitude, books, and the scattered reports of a life spent building a legacy. What would he find behind this door now? Charlie, you okay? Linda's voice broke through his thoughts, and he nodded slowly, steeling himself for what lay ahead. That he pushed the door open. The familiar scent of leather and old wood enveloped him, but the air now felt tainted with something darker, something deceptive. Papers were strewn across the desk. The room seemed to whisper secrets left behind, lingering in the silence. Help me, will you? He said, urgency creeping into his tone. Together they rifled through the documents, their hands moving quickly yet carefully. Minutes felt like hours. Charlie's heart raced as he tossed aside agreements, drafts, and letters, growing ever more frantic. It has to be here, it can't just be gone. Linda's brow furrowed. Wait, look at this. She pushed a folder closer, its corners frayed and yellowed. An envelope sat tightly sealed inside. Charlie's pulse quickened as he reached for it, the weight of what it might contain pressing down on him. Are you ready? She asked, her voice softening. No. But I have to be, Charlie replied, the truth spilling into his bones, solid and heavy. He tore open the envelope, hands shaking. Inside were papers stacked neatly, inked with his father's familiar handwriting. As he began to read, his heart sank. Each line revealed deeper layers of intentions he never knew existed, truths that cast shadows on everything he thought he understood. It's all here, he whispered, raw disbelief cracking his voice. He knew what they were planning. Linda leaned closer, reading over his shoulder. What does it say? It's a series of letters, addressed to me. He mentions his concerns about the company, my place in it. But there's more. Charlie's breathing hitched. He writes about Marissa, our family, and how she would try to manipulate everything. He knew she would fight me. Anger flared within him, followed by a wave of sadness that threatened to overcome him. Why hadn't he seen it before? Why had he accepted their vision for his life without question? Just as he thought he could breathe again, a chilling memory surfaced. The laughter shared at the family table, the moments he thought signified love, all tangled in this web of lies. Charlie, what did he really write? Linda pressed, worry etched on her features. This isn't just about inheritance. It's about betrayal. It's about control. He wanted me to fight back, to challenge their decisions, he said, shock flickering in his eyes. But your mother is still a part of this, she's connected to it all. You need to consider how far they're willing to go to keep you out. A chill crept into the room as the reality of Linda's words sunk in. Charlie felt his heart race again, this time with a newfound fire. Then we'll expose them, he vowed, gripping the papers like lifelines. I'm not backing down. But just as he thought they had gained the upper hand, a loud knock echoed from the door. The sound shattered the fragile moment, sending a jolt through Charlie. What now? Linda whispered, panic rising in her tone. Who could it be? He held his breath, knowing this confrontation could change everything. Only one thought hung heavy in the air: if the truth was so damning, how many more twists could await them in this tangled allegiance of family and betrayal? The knock reverberated through the study, an unwelcome intrusion into their chaotic world. Charlie's mind raced, every instinct screaming at him to hide the papers, to protect the secrets that now felt impossibly fragile. He shot a quick glance at Linda, whose wide eyes mirrored his own fear. Should we answer? She whispered. Do we have a choice? He replied, barely more than a breath. Slowly, he approached the door, each step feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. What if it was Marissa? What if it was someone else sent to determine what they had discovered? He took a deep breath, steadied himself, and turned the handle, the door swung open to reveal Marissa, her expression a mask of practiced calm. "Charlie," she said, feigning surprise, "I didn't expect to find you here." "I was just." Her voice trailed off as her gaze flickered to Linda. "What do you want?" Charlie's voice came out sharper than he intended. He felt the adrenaline surging through him. Marissa stepped inside, the shadows clinging to her as she moved. "I wanted to check on you. We're all a bit on edge, you know." With everything that's happened. "Cut the act," Linda interjected, stepping forward. "We're not in the mood for games." Marissa's lips tightened. "How dare you speak to me like that? I came here out of concern." "Concern for what?" Charlie couldn't hold back anymore. "Keeping your secrets safe? Is that what you're here for?" Marissa took a breath, the tension crackling in the air. "Why don't we sit down and talk about this properly? The atmosphere here doesn't seem conducive to a rational discussion." "I'm not sitting anywhere with you," Charlie said, heat rising in his cheeks. "We know about the letters. We know about the plan." The color drained from Marissa's face, but she regained her composure quickly. "You're bluffing." "No, I'm not," Charlie shot back. "You can't keep controlling everything forever. Not anymore." Marissa's eyes narrowed, a flash of something cold surfacing. "You're making a mistake. You really think you know what's best here? You're just a child playing with fire." "I'm done watching you pull the strings," he declared, feeling emboldened by anger. Each heartbeat echoed in his chest, lacing his words with conviction. Marissa opened her mouth, but a smirk broke through. "Is that so? Even if what you found is true, do you believe you can challenge me? Your father's will wasn't written for you to gain control. It was written to protect his interests." Charlie felt his stomach twist. "Protect his interests? By keeping me out of everything? With lies?" Her smile widened, a chilling contrast to the intensity of the moment. "You really should reconsider your position, Charlie. There are forces at play here that you don't understand." "What forces?" Linda demanded, stepping closer to Charlie. "What are you afraid of?" Marissa's expression shifted, a flicker of concern crossing her face before it hardened again. "Afraid? Hardly. I have everything I need. But you're crossing into dangerous territory." "Get out of my father's study," Charlie commanded, the tremor in his voice replaced by a steely edge. "We're done talking." Marissa hesitated, the air tense with unspoken repercussions. "You think you can stand against me? You will regret this." With that, she turned and swept out of the room, leaving a heavy silence in her wake. Charlie exhaled sharply, heart still racing. What did she mean by dangerous territory? "I don't know," Linda replied, shaking her head. "But clearly, we've stirred something up. We have to be careful." "Careful?" Charlie echoed, shaking his head. "We can't shy away now. Not when we're this close." As he spoke, a chilling thought formed in the back of his mind. If Marissa was willing to threaten them so openly, what lengths would she go to keep her power? They exchanged glances, the resolve between them solidifying. "Ready for round 2? Linda asked, her determination igniting his own spirit. "More than ever," he said. But as he spoke, an unsettling feeling crept back in. What if their fight uncovered not just the truth, but the dark intentions lurking behind his family's facade? As they turned back to the papers, a new question loomed. What if digging deeper meant exposing not just their family's secrets but also a legacy of treachery that could destroy everything? Charlie rubbed his temples, trying to process the gravity of the moment. The study was filled with shadows now, darkness pooling in the corners of their memories. They had expected to find answers, but questions multiplied like rabbits. Marissa's warning echoed in his mind, a siren call to retreat. But retreat was not an option anymore. "Let us focus," he said, forcing himself to look at the papers strewn across the desk. They were filled with notes about his father's estate, letters from lawyers, and enigmatic references to the family trust. Anxiety gnawed at Charlie as he sifted through the words, each one feeling like a potential dagger aimed at his heart. Linda leaned closer, her brow furrowed in concentration. There must be something here that proves Marissa's intentions. Her voice held a thread of determination that tethered him to their mission. He pulled out a document titled Trust Provisions, his hands trembling with anticipation. With every line read, the knot in his stomach tightened. It talks about beneficiaries, he said, scanning the text quickly. But it doesn't name me as one. Just her. Linda's eyes widened. That can't be right. Your father wouldn't do that. Her voice trailed off as she weighed the possibility. What if Marissa played him? What if she manipulated things so he did it without realizing? Charlie slammed his hand against the desk, anger igniting a fire within him. Linda flinched at his outburst but quickly steadied herself. What if she didn't? What if he really intended to cut you out? The thought struck him like ice water. No. No way. His voice faltered, emotions tumbling into chaos. It felt like the ground beneath him was shifting. Suddenly, something slid out from beneath a pile of papers, a small envelope, yellowed and fragile. He turned it over, his father's elegant handwriting gracing the front. With shaking hands, he opened it, revealing a letter inside. Dear Charlie, it began. His heart raced as he read the words. This is a letter from Dad, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. It's about the trust. Linda leaned in, breathless with anticipation. He continued to read, every word a torch illuminating the dark corners of doubt. It says that I should take control of the trust once I reach a certain age. That he believed I had the right to manage the estate. Relief washed over him like a sudden summer rain, but it was quickly followed by anger. Then how could Marissa? Maybe she never intended to let you see it, Linda suggested, her voice tight with urgency. You have to confront her, Charlie. She can't just decide your fate for you. He took in a deep breath, heart pounding at the thought. But if she is willing to go this far, what's to stop her from trying to eliminate me as a threat? The weight of his words sank in like lead. A chilling silence enveloped them, thick with fear. What do we do now? Linda asked, her eyes searching his face for an answer. Charlie straightened his back, determination igniting anew. We need to strategize. We can't let her control the narrative anymore. We'll gather every piece of evidence we can find and then call her out on it. We have to expose her. As they fell into a plan of action, a pulse of adrenaline surged through his veins. They huddled over the papers, illuminated by the dim glow of the desk lamp, the darkness of uncertainty wrapping around them. But in that charged space, determination blossomed. They were no longer just a child and a friend. They were allies ready to challenge the shadows. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and a figure stood silhouetted in the frame. It was Marissa, her smile cold and unreadable. What a lovely little meeting you're having, she said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. You really think you're prepared for what is coming? Charlie felt his stomach drop. A showdown was imminent, and the stakes were higher than ever. His heart hammered against his chest. We're ready, he called back. But were they truly prepared for what awaited them? Marissa stepped into the room, her presence dominating as the door closed behind her, sealing them in a tension-filled space. I admire your little chaotic scheme, she sneered. But you should know you can't outsmart me. I know every avenue you're trying to take. Is that so? Charlie shot back, the edge of defiance sharpening his voice. You think all your secrets mean you hold all the cards? Linda shifted nervously beside him, but Charlie kept his gaze locked onto Marissa. He could feel the weight of the letter in his pocket, a tangible reminder of his father's love and his own intentions to reclaim his rightful place. Oh, Charlie, Marissa chuckled softly, but there was no warmth in it, only ice. You really don't understand your position. Your father may have left you a letter, but he never wanted you in control. Not truly. A knot twisted in Charlie's stomach, but he was done being vulnerable. I have the right to lead this family's legacy, and I will show you that my father believed in me despite your manipulation. He felt a surge of confidence as he stepped closer, forcing her to meet his gaze. You think you've got it all figured out, Marissa replied, her voice low and dangerous. But your father's trust had provisions meant to protect the company from someone like you. You'll find that out soon enough. Is that your last-ditch effort to intimidate me? Charlie challenged, his heart pounding with adrenaline. I've seen through your lies. You can't drown out my voice any longer. Marissa's eyes narrowed, and her lips curled into a cruel smile. Ah, but what you don't see is how deep the betrayal runs. Your father and I shared ambitions, plans that you never belonged to. And I'll fight to preserve those dreams, even to the bitter end. She stepped slightly backward, glancing at Linda. You should watch yourself too, sweetie. Getting involved with him is dangerous. Anger bubbled up again. You've always underestimated people's strength. I won't stand idly by while you destroy the very foundation my father built. You're the one who should be worried. Worried? Marissa let out a slight laugh that echoed coldly around the room. You're barking up the wrong tree, my dear. It's what's written in those documents you found that you should truly fear. The truth can be a powerful weapon when wielded by the wrong hands. With a fluid movement, she turned sharply, heading toward the door. Charlie felt a surge of instinct. This was his moment. This isn't over, Marissa. You may think you have all the power, but the truth about this family is coming to light, and I will ensure everyone sees your true colors. Her cool exterior flickered, irritation sparkling in her eyes before she vanished through the door. Charlie and Linda exchanged glances, the room suddenly quiet, the air humming with unsaid urgency. Linda shifted, her voice filled with determination. Charlie, we need a plan. If she's confident about the will, then we're not ready yet. We need to dig deeper, ensure we can counter every one of her moves. He nodded, the fiery resolve solidifying within him. Absolutely. What your father left us the letters, this trust. If we can prove his intentions, then we can expose her. It's more than just reclaiming what's mine, it's about revealing the truth to everyone. This is my father's legacy, and I have to honor it. The air thickened with a renewed sense of purpose. They gathered the papers once more, intense eyes fixated on the words that would reveal everything. Charlie, Linda began, her voice steady but laced with concern, whatever fallout comes from this will ripple through your entire family. Are you sure you're ready for that? If standing for my father's memory means creating a storm, then so be it, he replied, fierce and unwavering. I'm prepared for whatever comes next. He believed in me, and now it's my turn to fight for him. As the revelation pressed upon them, Charlie felt a wave of strength wash over him. With every word read, the path before him became clearer. They weren't just uncovering documents, they were constructing a narrative that would shatter Marissa's facade. They dedicated themselves to unraveling the truth held within those pages, preparing for the battle ahead. There was no going back, the fight had begun and it ignited something profound within him. With Adrian at his side, Charlie was ready to step into the light and reclaim his place not just as a son, but as the rightful leader of his family's legacy. As they gathered their resolve and prepared for the next stage of their confrontation, a new thought emerged, stronger than fear. The truth is a force all its own, and it has the power to heal or to destroy. Charlie would rise to the challenge, no matter the cost, and with that promise echoing in his heart, Charlie stepped toward the unknown. There would be no turning back, only the courage to face whatever darkness awaited him. Now, more than ever, they needed to strike because what they uncovered next could change everything. You need to subscribe now to not miss what's next in Charlie's journey. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others discover this inspiring story. Comment below with your reactions and thoughts about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support means everything.